There's a reason you clicked on this tonight. Something in you is still turning over the day, still holding on to it, even now, when your body just wants to rest. You've tried closing your eyes and letting it go. It doesn't work that way, does it? If you're the kind of person who carries everything quietly, who never says how heavy it got, but feels it settle in your chest right around this hour, this is for you. I know that weight. I've laid in the dark more nights than I can count, running through everything I didn't finish, everything I said wrong, everything still unresolved. And somewhere in that noise, I found that the Psalms weren't written for daylight. They were written for exactly this hour, for exactly this kind of tired. Tonight, we're going to sit with a few of them slowly. Bible verses for deep rest, spoken the way they were meant to be heard, unhurried, unafraid of the silence between them. You can rest in the Word tonight. That's all this is. Let it hold what you've been holding. There's a particular kind of tired that doesn't show up on your face. It shows up later, when the house goes quiet and there's nothing left to distract you from it. Maybe you're feeling it right now. I want you to think about the last time you actually finished a day. Not just reached the end of it, finished it. Set it down whole, without dragging pieces of it into the night with you. Can you remember when that was? Most of us can't. We carry Tuesday into Wednesday. We carry a conversation from 3 weeks ago into tonight, still replaying it, still rewriting what we should have said. The day doesn't end, it just gets quieter, and we mistake the quiet for rest. Picture a farmhouse at the edge of a field, right as the light goes. There's a man standing on the porch, not doing anything, not fixing what's broken, not planning tomorrow, just standing there, letting the evening arrive around him. He's not avoiding his thoughts. He's just decided, for these few minutes, that the thoughts can wait on the porch rail beside him. That's harder than it sounds, isn't it? Sitting still with an unfinished life. Here's what I've come to notice. The nights I sleep hardest aren't the nights I solved something. They're the nights I simply stopped trying to. I put the day down the way you'd set down something heavy you'd been carrying too long across a field. Not because your arms got stronger, but because you finally admitted they were tired. What would it look like, tonight, to set something down without knowing how it ends? Not to resolve it, not to fix it, just to lay it beside you the way you'd lay a coat over a chair and let it stay there until morning. I think about an old barn I used to pass on the drive home years ago, leaning a little, paint gone grey, door hanging open on one hinge. And every single evening, no matter what kind of day it had been, that barn was still standing there. Not because someone had shown up to hold it together. It just stood, the way old things stand, worn, imperfect, still standing. Maybe that's closer to rest than we think. Not the absence of what's unfinished in you, just the willingness to remain standing in spite of it. There's a question I want to leave with you, and I'm not going to answer it for you, because I don't think it's mine to answer. What is the one thing you're still holding on to tonight that you were never actually meant to carry alone? Sit with that. Don't rush past it looking for the next thought. Let it sit in the room with you the way silence sits in an empty kitchen after everyone's gone to bed. Not empty, exactly. Just still. I've noticed something about silence. The real kind. The kind you don't fill with a television or a scrolling thumb. It asks something of you. It asks you to stop performing, even for yourself. Nobody's watching how you carry this. Nobody's grading how well you held it together today. In this silence, you don't have to hold anything together at all. Think of a field after harvest. Bare quiet, nothing left standing but stubble, and a little morning frost. It looks like loss if you only glance at it. But a farmer knows better, that bareness is not the end of something. It's the field resting before it's asked to grow again. Nothing productive is happening there, and that's exactly the point. You are allowed a field season tonight, not the growing kind, the resting kind. I want to ask you something else, gently, the way you'd ask a friend across a porch table rather than a stranger across a desk. When did you last let something stay unresolved without feeling like you'd failed by leaving it that way? We've been taught, most of us, that unfinished means unfaithful, that if we don't have an answer, we haven't prayed hard enough, tried hard enough, believed hard enough. But some things are not meant to be finished by us tonight. Some things are meant to be handed off, the way a farmer hands the last hour of daylight over to the dark and trusts that morning will come whether he stays awake, worrying about it or not. You don't have to stay awake worrying about it. There's an old well behind that same farmhouse, one I think about more often than I'd admit. Nobody draws water from it anymore. The rope is gone, the bucket long rusted through, but the well is still there, still deep, still capable of holding what it was built to hold. It just isn't asked to work anymore, and it doesn't apologize for that. It simply rests in what it once was, and lets the field around it change without needing to keep up. Maybe you've been asking yourself to be the working well every single night, drawing something up from yourself even when there's nothing left to draw. Tonight, you don't have to be useful. You don't have to produce a single clear thought or a single resolved feeling. You're allowed to just be a well that's earned its rest. I keep coming back to that image of the porch, the man standing there as the light drops out of the sky, not resolving anything, not fixing anything, just present to the ending of the day. There's something almost holy about a person who can do that, who can let a day end without needing to understand it first. Maybe tonight, that's the whole invitation. Not answers, not understanding, just presence at the ending of something, the way that man stood present at the ending of his day, and the way the old barn stood present through every evening it had no business still standing through. You're still standing too. Let that be enough for tonight. Think about how differently a field looks in the last light compared to noon. At noon, everything is exposed, every weed, every uneven row, every place the plough missed. But in that low evening light, the same field turns gold. Nothing about the field changed. Only the light did, and somehow that's enough to make it beautiful. You are not a different person than you were at noon today, when everything felt exposed and unfinished and hard to look at directly. You're the same person, but the light has changed, and in this hour, in this particular kind of quiet, you're allowed to be seen the way that field is seen, not for what's still uneven in you, but simply as you are, gold in this light, worthy of rest without having earned it through fixing anything first. Breathe here a moment. Let your shoulders drop from wherever they've been sitting all day. There's nothing required of you in this silence. Nothing to solve, nothing to explain, nothing to carry forward into the next thought. Just this, just the quiet, just you, still here, still standing, at the end of a long day that doesn't need your permission to be over. It's already over. You can let it be over. Let's pray together now. Not the kind of prayer that asks for something, the kind that simply lays everything down in front of God and lets Him hold it while you rest. Lord, I come to you tonight the way I am, not the way I wish I were, not the version of me that had it all together today. Just this version, tired, a little worn at the edges, carrying more than I probably needed to carry, but here anyway. You already know what today cost me. I don't have to explain it to you. You were there for every hour of it. I think about the words in your book, Lord, the ones that say, I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. I want that tonight, not the peace I try to manufacture by forcing my thoughts quiet. The real peace, the kind that comes because you are the one keeping watch, not me. I confess, I've been trying to hold the watch myself, replaying conversations, running through tomorrow's list, keeping one eye open even in the dark, as if my staying alert could somehow protect what I love. But you never asked me to stay alert all night. You asked me to trust you while I sleep. So tonight, Lord, I hand it to you. Every unfinished conversation, every decision I haven't made yet, every person I love who I can't fix or protect or fully understand right now. I'm not abandoning them by letting go tonight. I'm handing them to someone who never sleeps, so that I finally can. There's a verse that says, He giveth his beloved sleep, not because I've earned it, not because today was perfect or productive or resolved in the way I wanted it to be, simply because I'm yours, and you give rest to the ones you love, the way a father tucks a blanket around a child who fought sleep all evening and finally gave in. I want to be that child tonight, Lord. Tired of fighting it, ready to give in. Forgive me for the moments today I forgot you were near. Forgive me for carrying weight I never had to carry alone. I know you were present in the traffic, in the phone call I dreaded, in the silence after the hard conversation. I just didn't stop long enough to notice. Slow me down now. Let this prayer be the place where I finally stop. I bring you the people I love, Lord. You know their names better than I do. You know what they're facing that I can't see, what they're afraid of that they haven't told me, what they need that I can't provide, no matter how much I want to. Watch over them tonight the way you've always watched over the people I love, even in the years before I understood how faithfully you were doing it. I bring you the parts of my life that feel unfinished, the dream I haven't let myself hope for in a while, the relationship that still feels a little fractured, the work that never quite feels like enough. I'm not asking you to fix all of it tonight. I'm asking you to hold it so it doesn't have to sit on my chest while I try to sleep. Psalm 4 says it plainly, Lord, I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety, not the safety I create through control, not the safety of staying awake long enough to think my way through everything, the safety that comes only from you. I want to dwell there tonight, not just visit it for a moment before my mind wanders back to worry. Dwell there, quiet my thoughts, Lord, not by silencing them harshly, but the way you quiet a storm with a word, with a presence, with a peace that doesn't need explaining to make sense. Let my breathing slow. Let my shoulders release whatever they've been bracing against all day. Let my mind stop reaching for tomorrow and rest fully in tonight. I thank you that you are not tired, even when I am. I thank you that you do not slumber nor sleep, so I am free to do both. I thank you that my rest isn't a risk, because you are awake on my behalf. That truth alone is enough to let go by. I think of the old hymn my grandmother used to hum in her kitchen, long after the dishes were done and the house had gone still. She never explained why she hummed it. She didn't have to. It was her way of telling the day it could end now, that she'd handed the rest of it to you. I didn't understand that as a boy. I understand it now, standing in my own kitchen some nights, doing the same thing without meaning to. There's a kind of trust that only shows up in the dark, Lord. Daylight trust is easy. I can see where I'm walking. I can measure the outcome. I can convince myself I'm managing things well. But nighttime trust asks something different of me. It asks me to believe you're still working, even when I can't see the field anymore. Even when the porch light is the only thing still on and everything past it is shadow. Grow that kind of trust in me tonight. Lord, be near to the people watching this with me tonight, wherever they are, whatever kept them awake before they found their way here. You know their names too. You know exactly what they need to release before they can finally close their eyes. Meet them in this quiet, the way you're meeting me. Give them the same permission to rest that you're giving me right now. For the ones lying awake because of grief, be near. For the ones lying awake because of fear about tomorrow, be near. For the ones who don't even know what's keeping them up, only that peace feels far away tonight, be near to them especially. You don't need their words to understand their hearts. You already know. I lay this day down at your feet, Lord. Every part of it, what went well, what didn't, what I still don't understand. I trust you with all of it. And I trust you with the night ahead, the one I can't see into, the one only you are already standing in. Thank you for being the kind of God who watches while his children sleep. Thank you for not needing me to stay awake to prove I trust you. Let sleep be the trust tonight. Let rest be the prayer. In your name, I lay it all down. Amen. Let your eyes close now, if they haven't already. And let me paint something for you not to think about, just to rest inside of. It's evening on a farm in eastern Tennessee, the kind of evening where the heat of the day has finally let go, and the air carries that first cool edge that tells you the night is settling in for good. Somewhere past the tree line, a screen door creaks open and shuts again, soft, unhurried. Nobody's rushing toward anything out here. Everything moves at the pace the evening sets. There's a single light on in the farmhouse kitchen, warm, yellow, the kind that spills out through a window onto the porch boards without quite reaching the yard. It's the only light for what feels like miles. Everything beyond it has gone the deep blue of early night. Fields and fence posts and the shapes of hills just barely visible against a sky that's giving up its last color. You can hear rain starting somewhere off in the distance. Not on you, not yet. Just a low hush moving across the far fields, the kind of sound that tells you it'll arrive slow, and it'll be gentle when it does. There's no thunder in it, no urgency, just rain finding its way down, the same way it always has, the same way it will long after tonight is over. Picture the porch itself, wood worn smooth by decades of boots and bare feet. A chair that creaks in the same spot every time someone sits in it. A sound so familiar it barely registers anymore. A quilt folded over the porch rail, left there from the afternoon, damp now with evening air, waiting for someone to carry it back inside, though no one's in a hurry to. The rain reaches the porch roof eventually, soft at first, then steady. That particular sound, rain on old tin, unhurried and constant, has a way of making everything else go quiet by comparison. Even your thoughts, even the ones that have been circling all day. Somewhere inside, past that lit window, there's the low murmur of a house settling for the night. A kettle finishing its work on the stove, a dog shifting positions by the hearth, sighing the way dogs do when the day is finally fully over. Nothing dramatic, just a house breathing out. You're not asked to do anything in this scene. You're not the one who has to fix the fence in the morning, or worry about the crop, or manage what the weather's going to do next. Tonight, you're just the one sitting on the porch, wrapped in that quilt, listening to rain find its rhythm on the roof above you. Let your breathing slow to match it, in like the rain gathering somewhere out past the fields, out like it finally letting go onto the tin roof. There's no clock out here worth checking. Time moves the way the rain moves, steady, unbothered, in no rush to arrive anywhere. Notice the smell of it, wet earth, cut grass from days ago, softened now by the damp. A faint trace of wood smoke from a chimney somewhere down the road, curling low because the air's too heavy tonight to carry it far. These are old smells, the kind that were here long before you arrived tonight, and will be here long after you've drifted off. The porch light flickers once, the way old bulbs do, then steadies again. Nobody moves to fix it. It doesn't need fixing. It's done its job all evening, and it'll keep doing it, humming quietly against the dark, long after you've stopped noticing it's there. Somewhere out past the barn, a light rain is falling on a field that's already done its work for the season. Nothing is being asked of that field tonight either. It's simply resting, the way you're being invited to rest, under the same sky, under the same steady rain. Further off, past where the light from the kitchen window gives out entirely, there's a pond that catches whatever moon manages to slip through the clouds tonight. Just a faint silver shimmer on dark water, rippled every so often by a single raindrop finding its way through the tree cover above it. Nothing about that pond is trying to be beautiful. It just is, the way stillness always ends up being, whether anyone's there to notice or not. A dog barks once, far off, at nothing in particular, then goes quiet again. Somewhere, a screen door on another porch, another house down the road, creaks the same creak yours does. You're not alone out here, even in this stillness. Other porches, other lights, other tired people are settling the same way you are, under the same rain, the same wide sky. The quilt around your shoulders has gone warm now, holding in whatever heat your body's giving off, keeping the cool night air just far enough away. You don't need to move. You don't need to check anything, decide anything, or plan for what tomorrow's weather might bring. Tonight belongs to the porch, and the rain, and the quiet hum of a house settling in around you. Somewhere behind the house, a gate that never quite latches right taps softly against its post. Once, then again, carried by a breeze too gentle to call wind. It's a small sound, almost nothing, but out here, in this kind of quiet, even the smallest sounds have room to be heard fully before they fade. Nothing rushes to cover them up. They're simply allowed to happen, and then allowed to pass. The rain has settled into a rhythm now, steady on the tin, steady on the leaves, steady on the dark water of the pond you can't quite see from here but know is out there, gathering it drop by drop. There's a comfort in rhythm like that. Nothing unpredictable, nothing demanding your attention, just the same soft pattern, over and over, asking nothing of you but to listen. Let the sound of it settle into you now. Rain on tin, a porch that creaks in the same place, a window glowing soft down the hill behind you. This is not a place you have to think your way through. It's a place you're allowed to simply be in, wrapped in something warm. While the rain does what rain has always done, cover everything gently and ask nothing back. Stay here a while longer. There's nowhere else you need to be tonight. Just this porch, just this rain, just this quiet, wide open dark. holding you the way it's always held every tired soul who sat still long enough to let it. Let's read some psalms together now. Slowly, the way they were meant to be heard, not the way we rush through verses in the middle of a busy day. Just let each one settle before the next one comes. I will lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. Read that again in your mind, not the fear, not the striving, just the peace and the sleep and the safety that isn't yours to manufacture, only His to give. Let it sit there a moment before we move on. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. There's something in that phrase, He maketh me to lie down. Not suggests, not hopes, maketh, as if the shepherd knows his sheep well enough to understand that some of them won't lie down on their own, that some of them will keep pacing the field long after the sun's gone, worried about a threat that isn't even there anymore. So He makes them, gently, the way a hand rests on a shoulder until the shoulder finally softens. Maybe that's you tonight, pacing a field that's already safe. Let the shepherd's hand rest there now. I laid me down and slept. I awaked, for the Lord sustained me. Such a plain verse. No drama in it. Just a man saying, I slept, and I woke up, and somewhere in between, God held the world together without my help. That's the whole verse. And somehow, that's enough. I lay down and slept the way that man did once, years ago. On a night I don't remember for any particular reason, except that I woke the next morning and realized I'd slept the whole way through without waking once to check on anything. I didn't earn that sleep. It was simply given. The way this verse promises it will be given to you tonight too. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night. Not afraid for the terror by night. Whatever that terror looks like for you, the racing thoughts, the what-ifs, the fear that shows up strongest right when the lights go out. This verse was written for exactly that hour. Under His wings shalt thou trust. Not under your own vigilance. Under His wings. Let that phrase rest in you a while. Under His wings. Covered. Small enough to be hidden there, and safe enough not to need to be anything more than small tonight. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, He that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Read that as many times as you need to. He will not slumber, which means your sleep was never the risk you thought it was. Somebody has to stay awake for the watch to hold. It was never meant to be you. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Preserve thy soul. Not just your body through the night, but the deeper part of you, the part that gets worn thin by disappointment, by grief, by carrying more than a soul was built to carry alone. That part is being preserved too, even now, even while you can't feel it happening. I cried unto the Lord with my voice, and He heard me out of His holy hill. I laid me down and slept. I awaked, for the Lord sustained me. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. 10,000 troubles could surround a person, and still sleep would be possible, because the sustaining was never dependent on the absence of trouble. It was dependent on Him. That's true tonight, whatever number your own troubles add up to. It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for so he giveth his beloved sleep. There it is again, sleep, not as something you earn by staying up, worrying long enough to prove your devotion, but as a gift given to the beloved. You are the beloved here, not because of anything you did today, simply because you're his. Be still and know that I am God. Let that verse do exactly what it says. Be still, not figure it out, not resolve it. Just be still and let the knowing come the way it always comes, in stillness, quietly, without announcing itself, settling into you the way warmth settles into a cold room once the fire's finally caught. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore will not we fear, though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea. Even the mountains could move tonight. And this verse says you still wouldn't need to fear, because the refuge was never the ground beneath you. It was always him. Let your grip loosen on whatever ground you've been holding onto so tightly. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep. There's a reason that verse appears more than once in this book, in different words, from different men, in different seasons of trouble. God knew how many nights his people would need reminding. He knew how many times fear would come back around, disguised as something new, and how many times his children would need to hear the same simple promise before it finally settled into their bones. This is one of those times. Let it settle now. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increaseth strength. Even the youths shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. You don't have to run tonight. You don't even have to walk. Just wait. That's the whole instruction. Wait upon the Lord and let the renewing happen while you rest. The way strength always returns, not while we're striving for it, but while we're finally still enough to receive it. Let these words stay with you as the night goes on, not memorized, not analyzed, just carried, the way a warm stone carries heat long after it's been pulled from the fire. You can rest in these now. That's all they were ever meant for. You don't have to do anything now. Not think, not pray in words, not even listen closely to what I'm saying. Just be here. Let your hands rest wherever they are. Let your jaw unclench. Let your breath go slow and unremarkable, the way it does right before sleep finally takes over. There's nothing left to figure out tonight. Somewhere out past your window, the world is still turning the way it always has, without needing you to manage a single part of it. The fields are resting. The animals have settled. The porch light down the road has been left on for no one in particular, just because someone forgot to turn it off, and it doesn't mind. You can be like that porch light, just on, just present, not doing anything else. Let a few seconds pass now in silence, not empty silence, held silence, the kind that surrounds you the way still water holds whatever's resting on its surface, without needing to do anything to keep it afloat. Just breathe, just be here. Notice how little effort it takes, right now, to simply exist. No task attached to this moment, no outcome waiting to be produced. Just the rise and fall of your own breathing, quiet and steady, doing what it's always done without you having to think about it. You are not behind on anything tonight. You are not failing by doing nothing. This stillness is not wasted time. It's the most honest thing you've done all day. Let your body sink a little further into wherever it's resting, shoulders down, hands open. Whatever you were holding onto a moment ago, you can set it down now, right here, in this silence that doesn't ask you to explain it. There is a kind of rest that has no shape to it, no beginning, no middle, no conclusion to reach. It simply is. You are inside that kind of rest right now, whether you feel it fully yet or not. Somewhere far off, a clock is still keeping time, the way clocks do, indifferent to whether anyone's watching. But in here, in this quiet time, doesn't need to be kept. It's already been given to you, freely, without conditions attached. Let your mind go where it wants to now, not chasing anything, not solving anything, just drifting, the way a leaf drifts on still water, moved a little by whatever current happens to pass beneath it, and no further than that. Just this, just now, nothing else required. There's more I want to share with you about a promise tucked further into these psalms, one that speaks straight to the kind of tired that doesn't leave when the lights go out. But that's for a little further tonight. Right now, just stay here a while longer, in this quiet, and let it hold you. There's a promise I want to leave with you now, one that's been sitting quietly beneath everything we've read tonight. It's simple. It doesn't need explaining. It just needs to be heard, slowly, the way the rest of these words have been. You did enough today. Say that back to yourself if you need to. You did enough. Not everything. Not perfectly. But enough. You are not behind. Whatever you didn't finish, whatever you meant to say and didn't, whatever you're still carrying from months ago that you thought you'd have resolved by now, none of that puts you behind on tonight's rest. Rest was never something you had to earn your way into. You are allowed to stop. Not just physically, mentally. The planning can stop. The reviewing can stop. The bracing for tomorrow can stop. Right here, right now, in this hour that belongs only to you and to him. He is not tired of you, even on the days you felt most like a burden, most like too much, most like someone who should have handled things better. He was not tired of you then, and he is not tired of you now. That kind of fatigue is not in him. It never has been. You can lay it down, whatever it is. The worry about your children, the ache over a friendship that's grown distant, the quiet fear about your health, your finances, your future. You can lay every bit of it down tonight, the way you'd lay down a coat that's gotten too heavy to keep wearing. You are not alone in this. Somewhere, right now, someone else is listening to these same words, carrying something just as heavy, finding the same kind of rest you're finding. You've never been as alone in this as it feels at 2 in the morning. He keeps watch so you don't have to. That's not a suggestion. That's the truth this whole night has been built around. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Let that be the last thought standing guard tonight instead of your own tired vigilance. You are loved exactly as you are tonight. Not the version of you from your best year. Not the version you're hoping to become. This one. Tired, imperfect, still trying. This is the one he loves. This is the one he's watching over right now. It is finished for today. Whatever tomorrow asks of you, it hasn't arrived yet. Today is done. You carried it as far as it needed to go. You can set it down now and let it be finished. You can rest in the word tonight. That's not just something I've been saying to fill the silence. It's true. These verses, these psalms, they were written by men who knew exhaustion, who knew fear, who knew what it was to lie awake dreading the dark, and they wrote their way through to rest anyway. You can follow that same path tonight. There is nothing left for you to prove, not to the people who doubted you, not to the version of yourself that keeps score. not even to God, who was never keeping score to begin with. You have nothing left to prove tonight, only somewhere soft to land. You are safe enough to close your eyes. Whatever kept them open before, whatever fear or worry was standing guard at the edge of your thoughts, it can stand down now. Something greater is standing guard in its place. You are not the sum of today's failures, not the sharp word you regret, not the task left undone, not the moment you lost your patience with someone you love. Those things happened, and they don't define what happens next. Grace has always been bigger than a single bad hour. Your worth was never tied to your output. You've lived a long time believing otherwise, maybe believing that rest had to be earned by exhaustion, that value came from how much got crossed off a list. That was never true. It isn't true tonight either. You are held even in what you can't control. The health scare you're waiting on, the child who's struggling, the job that feels uncertain. None of it is beyond his reach, even the parts that feel completely beyond yours. Your prayers tonight don't have to be eloquent. A groan is enough. A single word is enough. Even the silence you offered earlier tonight was a kind of prayer, and it was heard exactly the same as words would have been. You are permitted to feel what you feel, the sadness that showed up uninvited, the anxiety that wouldn't quite settle, the numbness some days bring instead of tears. None of that disqualifies you from rest tonight. All of it is welcome here. You are not required to have it figured out by morning. Not the diagnosis, not the relationship, not the decision you've been circling for weeks. Some things take longer than a single night to resolve, and that's not a failure on your part. That's just how healing tends to move slower than we'd like, but forward all the same. You have survived every hard night before this one. Every single one. However impossible that felt at the time, however certain you were that this particular darkness would be the one that finally broke you, it didn't. You made it through. That same steady hand that brought you through those nights is the one holding you through this one. You are not being punished by this season. Whatever hardship you're walking through right now, it is not a verdict on your faith or your worth. Some seasons are simply hard, the way some winters run longer than others, and the word never once promised an easy road, only a faithful presence walking every step of it beside you. Rest tonight is not surrender. It's not giving up on tomorrow's fight. It's simply trusting that tomorrow doesn't need you awake at midnight to arrive on time. You can rest tonight and still be exactly as strong, exactly as faithful, exactly as capable tomorrow as you were before you closed your eyes. Morning will come whether you worry tonight or not. That's simply true. The sun doesn't wait for your permission, and it doesn't need your worry to rise on schedule. You can let go of the watching. It was never keeping anything moving anyway. You did enough today. I'll say it once more, because it's the truest thing I know how to tell you. You did enough. You are enough. And you can rest now. We've come a long way together tonight, through psalms written by men who knew exactly what it felt like to lie awake dreading the dark, through a prayer that laid down more than words can usually carry, through silence that asked nothing of you but presence. And now, here at the end, there's really only one thing left to say. You can rest now. That's it. That's the whole message this night was built around. Not a formula, not a technique, just permission. The kind you've probably been waiting on for longer than you realized. I think about that porch again, the one I described to you earlier. The man standing there as the light dropped out of the sky, present to the ending of his day without needing to understand it first. I think that's who you've become over these last 60 minutes. Whether you noticed the shift happening or not, something in you has settled. Something in you has finally agreed to stop holding the watch. You did that. Or maybe it's more honest to say you let it be done in you. There's a difference, and it matters. Rest was never something you had to force. It was something you had to finally allow. The Psalms we read tonight weren't written by people who had it all figured out. David wrote some of his most desperate words in the middle of nights, very much like this one, hunted, uncertain, afraid, and still, in the middle of all that fear, he wrote, "I will lay me down in peace and sleep." Not because the danger had passed, because the one keeping watch had never left. That's true for you too, tonight. Whatever your own version of danger looks like, whatever kept you up before you found your way here, the peace was never dependent on the trouble disappearing. It was dependent on him staying. He stayed, even through everything today held. Even through everything you're still carrying, he stayed. I think about my own grandmother again, the one who used to hum in her kitchen long after the dishes were done. I never once asked her what she was afraid of, or what kept her up some nights before that humming started. I understand now that it didn't matter what it was. What mattered was that she had a place to hand it to, and a habit of handing it there, night after night, until the handing became as natural as breathing. I hope tonight has started to become that kind of habit for you too. This is your quiet hour, not a program, not a routine to check off a list. A place that will be here whenever the night stretches long and the ordinary comforts stop working. A place with no expectations of who you have to be when you arrive, only rest, waiting for you exactly as it did tonight. Come back whenever you need to. There's no wrong hour for this, no wrong kind of tired. Whether it's tomorrow night or 3 weeks from now, whether it's a small worry or something that's been sitting on your chest for years, this place will be here, unchanged, holding the same quiet it's holding for you right now. You can rest in the word tonight. That's the truth this whole hour was pointing toward, from the very first sentence to this one. Not because you earned it, not because today went well, simply because it's a gift, freely given. The same way it's been given to every tired soul who ever laid down their head, not fully understanding how they'd make it through, and woke up anyway, sustained by something that never once stopped watching over them. Let your body settle now, fully, into wherever it's resting. Let your breathing find its own slow rhythm, the one it's been moving toward this whole time. Let your mind release whatever it's still holding, one last time, into hands far more capable than yours. Think of that field one more time, the one under the last of the evening light, gold instead of harsh, resting instead of striving. That's you tonight, not fixed, not resolved, just seen in a gentler light than the one you judged yourself by all day, and found worthy of rest exactly as you are. I think of Earl, an old farmer I used to know, out past the county line, who told me once that the best crops came from fields he let lie fallow every few years. Not fields he pushed harder, fields he let rest. He said the ground needed the same permission the rest of us do. A season of doing nothing so it could hold something again later. I've never forgotten that. I don't think you need to either. There's more waiting for you, further down this road, more songs, more nights like this one, more quiet hours when the noise of the day finally gives way to something softer. But that's not for tonight to carry. Tonight is only for this, rest, and the quiet certainty that you were never alone in needing it. Sleep now. Let the word be the last thing you carry into the dark. and let his watching be the only thing standing guard until morning. Good night, and may his peace be the one thing you wake up still holding.